All right, let's reconvene our BICAM. So earlier on, during the break, I took a look at the list of FMRs that were submitted to us, and there are indeed coordinates in the FMRs, and only 7 projects out of the 1,000 plus.
1,644
Yeah,
po.
1,644 projects. So, and I understand that tomorrow the 7 projects will have coordinates ready. But as an added safeguard, we will now allow the DA to partner with LGUs or download funds to the LGUs to implement the FMRs. They can also do PPPs. They can also do other modalities other than wala nang
Public Works.
yeah, other than public works. No? So that is the another modality so that they can implement the projects quick as possible. And Senator Kiko would want to elaborate
In addition,
the other safeguard.
we will put special provisions that will be additional safeguards, such as the transparency portal necessary so that at any given point, at any given time, alam ng tao, ma-check niya nasaan yung project, anong area, anong coordinates niya, and the citizens' participatory audit will likewise be part of the safeguards wherein we will engage citizens groups, individuals who will check and monitor the implementation of these farm-to-market road projects.
If I may add po, so looking at the utilization rate for the implementation of the farm-to-market roads in fiscal year 2025, out of the items that have been tagged as ready for release, 83% of those projects have already been implemented. So I believe for the budget for 2025, the DA is on track. I think po nagkaroon lang ng halt ng bidding kaya po na hindi nila na-implement yung remaining 17%. But I believe given the current performance of DA in terms of implementing the farm-to-market roads for fiscal year 2025, we will be able to implement it well for 2026. Of course, given the 4 modalities that can be utilized to work on these farm-to-market roads, as mentioned by Senwin, that would be DA, DPWH, LGUs, and PPPs. That would definitely accelerate the implementation of farm-to-market roads. So with the safeguards in place, we are confident that we will be able to implement the 33 billion rather that is proposed for farm-to-market roads in fiscal year 2026.
Mr. Chair, sorry, but Your Honors, when I asked a while ago, the chairman of the budget for DA said that 2025, it is DPWH is still implementing for 2025. Her Honor is referring to DA. So what do I not understand?
Oh, yeah. So for 2025 po, yes, that is correct. The current implementation, the 83%,
Is DPWH.
Is DPWH.
Yes, okay. So therefore, my concern is still stands that walang record si DA on their ability to implement, added to the facts raised by Senator Marcos that they have 3 engineers. So that you know what I mean? Like, I
Yes.
appreciate the numbers you're giving me, but that's DPWH, not DA. So we're transferring it now to DA, giving them an additional budget to work with, and they have no experience except from 10, 11 years ago. I'm just putting that on record. That is the concern that I have, in as much as I super want to support countryside development.
Thank you,
Yun lang,
Sanpia.
Mr. President.
With
Mr.
that
Chairman.
po, we are actually expanding the modes, the modalities that can be utilized. So apart from just DPWH, as it currently stands now, there would be DA and LGUs and the PPPs. So if DPWH is able to perform at 83%, hopefully with all of the 4 modalities, they would be able to easily hit the 100% target for 2026. But I understand the concern po. It's really, DA has to beef up their manpower, especially for BAFE. Mukha po talagang short they're very short-staffed to be able to implement all of these. But we'll take a note. Actually, po, there's a 1% administrative cost, and I believe that is, they requested for that, so they would have more validators, more inspectors within their engineering department. So that should help address the concern with regard to manpower.
Senator Kiko.
Yes, if I may also add an additional special provision, another safeguard, validation of project costs prior to the procurement of any FMR project, the detailed engineering design, program of work, and approved budget for the contract shall be subject to technical review and cost validation by the DA BAFE, taking into account prevailing market prices, standard unit costs, and site specific conditions. So that too will be an additional safeguard in terms of ensuring that we are able to safeguard on overpricing of the infrastructure project, the farm to market road.
Related to that po, because currently, in the new way that we are tagging the farm to market road projects, there are coordinates that mark the start and the end of the projects. The only danger there is once you have a reduced cost, ideally, you would be able to translate that to a longer road than what was initially programmed. So perhaps the proposal is for us to be able to put in a special provision also under the FMR that allows us to utilize whichever savings to augment the farm-to-market roads. Para lang po, kasi baka po makuha, kasi may clear start and clear end kasi yung kalsada na nakalagay ngayon. So hindi po basta-basta na pwedeng habaan lang kung meron pong savings. So that's something that we're proposing to be added as well, if in relation to recalibrating the prices.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, yes.
Senator Amy first, then Senator Lauren.
Yes, sorry. Hindi ko alam kung ano pang mga safeguards ang mailalagay. Hindi tayo nagkulang sa paglagay ng budget nung nakaraang budget ng GAA 2025, kung maalala ninyo, para sa FMR, 23 billion po ang naka-appropriate. Ang na-release, halos kalahati lamang, 12 billion. 11 billion, puro FLR. So, hindi tayo nagkulang. Ang problema, kahit ano pang halaga ang ilalagay natin, kapag in FLR, ang halos kalahati, lokohan na rin to. Kaya, anong safeguard? Kanina, sinabi nyo, magse-safeguard. Anong mailalagay dyan na talagang i-release yung buong buo yung halaga na ilalagay natin? Kahit napakalaki pa niyan, 32, 40, kung anong gusto ninyo. Hindi naman pala rin i-release eh. Anong silbi niyan? Yan ang nangyari last year. Yun lang. So if you will have a look, the appropriations in GAA 2025, 23 billion, actually released was a mere 12 billion. For later release was almost the same amount, 11 billion.
Mr. President, Mr. Chair, okay, allow me to put this on record, and I would be happy to be proven incorrect, because I want to be able to say that we are able to use the savings for a longer or a bigger project. However, in my understanding, we cannot use the savings for a project which is a line item in the GAA for a longer road or perhaps a taller building or a bigger room, because that is the line item in the GAA. And so the savings will have to either return to Treasury or second, be put together, and that can be a fund where you still have to go to the Office of the President for approval, whether it will be for an extension of the road project or another line item. For example, if it is a 1 kilometer road and it was bid for X amount, pero nakatipid, magaling yung district engineer at yung congressman hindi tatanggap ng anuman. So my savings, can that be used for a longer road? The answer, to my knowledge and in my experience, is it cannot be used because it was not appropriated in the General Appropriations Act because the road was only 1 kilometer. I put that on the table, Mr. Chair, because that is the concern of everybody. That is in light of the Public Works statement we just read tonight, which Senator Pia and all of us are concerned about, because the ask is to put it back into the overpriced amount, which we have been discussing day and night for several months. So it's back there. However, the DPWH says that they will take care of it in the implementation. Okay, so we trust the DPWH or the DA or any agency of government that will implement it. So the question is, what is the incentive so that there will be savings? Can the savings be used to lengthen the project? The answer is, to my mind, and I would be happy to be wrong, the answer is no. It can be used if you will seek OP approval for the extension of the project. So, special provision.
Will have to answer that.
Yes.
It will become
My
law.
lawyer will answer me.
Yes.
Very good.
In
Okay,
answer to
yes.
Senator Lawrence's concern, it will be perfectly legal if it will be in the special provision. Because the special provision is also law part of the GAA. So that can be done. And that is why it's really, if it is special provision, it is part of the law. That savings will be used to extend and giving help to our farmers and far-flung area residents. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That is the reason why I put it on the table, because it is very important. If we did not discuss it, and that's what we call the elephant in the room, then the savings would have to revert to Treasury, or you would have to seek OP approval for every movement, and that would be arduous and inefficient. However, if my dear lawyer will attest to the fact that a special provision is in order and can be done, then that is good. So that would be for a DA, DPWH, DepEd, DOH project, whichever, yes. Having said that, Mr. President, so I just wanted to put that on the table. I thank Congressman Rufus Rodriguez for this. Coming from a province that is agricultural, as I said, I support the farmers, the fisher folks. Of course, we need so much farm-to-market roads. Napansin ko lang po, 16B ang nasanep. So the 16B, I assume that pinag-aralan ito ng DA. But the 16B that the body wishes to add to make up the 32B, I am not certain if this additional 16 billion of farm-to-market roads will comply with what the DBM has been saying in all our hearings. Sabi ng DBM, kailangan daw ng TRIP, yung 3-year rolling program. You know that. Even for a single National Museum building, which is multi-year, they did not fund kasi wala raw TRIP. So I just put that on the table again because this 16B appears in the GAB. And assuming the BICAM will allow it, it is not compliant with what the DBM claims is a requirement for all projects. Second, did it have a feasibility study or an SB resolution, which among senators we regarded as requirements for any infrastructure project? RDC approval, siguro hindi naman kasi RDC approval, it's either or, SB Reso, LGU Reso, or RDC approval. Now, is it shovel-ready? I hope that the 16B initially is shovel-ready kasi pinag-isipan niya ng DA eh. Pero yung 16B na bago, hindi ko alam. So, I am not against farm-to-market roads. Ako po ay sumasang-ayon na kailangan tulungan ng ating mga magsasaka. Sa kabundukan namin, habal-habal lang, minsan tinatahak ang mahirap na mga nalandas paakyat sa bundok. So kailangan. Sinasabi ko lang po ito sa mga requirements na pinag-usapan namin sa Senado at nanguna dyan si Senator Lacson na sumang-ayon tayong lahat. So I feel it is incumbent upon me, Mr. Chair, to put this on the table. At the end of the day, I will defer to the wisdom of the chair. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just an answer. Under Article 6 of the Legislative Department, precisely, Section 24 provides for original exclusivity of the House of Representatives on all appropriations. These requirements by other agencies, it is the ultimate wisdom and policy of the House of Representatives that of the 255.5 billion flood control that were stricken off, we put the 16 billion to our farm to market because the president said education, health, and agriculture. So there is therefore the source of the fund. And of course, with the decision of the House of Representatives, of course, we send to you because you have the power of amendment or consensus or a proposal for amendment. So it depends upon you. But we are saying that in the first instance, we have already made the decision in the House. So it's up to you whether you would be able to agree with this, and we appeal to you. Because our districts, we are responsible to our districts, that these far-flung areas, unreached by good roads, will now have paved roads. And that is why there is that basis. And so therefore, it's now, if you do not agree also, what can we do? But precisely we are asking and appealing to you to be able to approve this because it complies with everything under the Constitution.
Thank you for that, my dear lawyer, my friend, Congressman Rodriguez. Gaya ng sinabi ko, ako sang-ayon sa farm-to-market road, basta sumasang-ayon sa requirements. And I have expressed my concerns, my reservations, and I understand the needs and the requirements of district representatives, especially those coming from the Visayas and Mindanao. Yes.
Mr. President.
Session suspended. So let's reconvene the BICAM, and I think we have discussed this matter quite lengthily. Yes, Kong.
Point. The panel, Senate panel, was using Section 70, authority to use savings. No, it is Section 81 on the general provisions. Let me read now. It is augmentation, not use of savings. And what is Section 81? Rules on augmentation. Augmentation is the act of the constitutional officers authorized to use savings in the respective appropriations in this act to cover a deficiency in any existing item of appropriation within the respective offices, and deficiency in an item of appropriation may result from, number one, unforeseen modifications or adjustments in the program. B, reassessment in the use, prioritization, and distribution of resources. And here is the most important provision. An item of appropriation shall pertain in the amount appropriated for an activity or project authorized by this act. And here is the clincher. The particulars of the expenditures to be funded from saving should be within the scope of or covered by an existing activity or project. So we use Section 81 on this, not on Section 79 on the authority to use savings, which the President and the Senate President and all the heads of offices are the ones entitled. So this is the rules of augmentation under general provision. I maintain that under this provision, if there's any saving, it talks about savings. Augmentation is the act of the constitutional officers authorized to use savings. You see? So therefore, this can be done by the DA and also by the project itself, especially if there is also a special provision. Because special provision, because it will pertain now to these farm-to-market roads, you see. So there's a support already in the general provisions, rules of augmentation. So I submit that this is really legal and this can be done. We just request a special provision because we are talking of FMR. This is general already. It is already a basis for a special provision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We would appreciate the actual language from a legal guru like yourself, a legal luminary. So, Kong Rufus, if you can help the committee craft that language, and we would really appreciate it. And then we can also have something to hold on and study.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll do that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
we will defer Senwin to our chairman of constitutional amendment.
Correct,
So
yeah.
our legal
We also
luminary
have
in the
our
House.
chairman of constitutional amendments here, so both chairmen can work together to
Perfect.
craft that provision.
I'm a little bit younger than Congressman Rodriguez, so I will defer to him.
All right. So again, let me reiterate. We've mentioned safeguards to implement infrastructure projects this time in this budget, making sure that the budgets are lined item in the budget, together with technical descriptions, station numbers, and we made sure that all of these projects are identifiable. No? And that includes farm-to-market roads. No? And Senator Kiko also provided more safeguards. Number one, for LGUs to implement PPP, also uploading the technical description through a dashboard. I saw that special provision. And they also added citizens participatory audit in this in the implementation of these projects.
Validation of project costs.
And the validation of project costs. So all of these will be embedded in the General Appropriations Bill. So with that, I think, is there any motion?
With that, the very extensive discussion, I think that lasted for 2 hours, close to 2 hours. We've put in the necessary safeguards to ensure that the farm-to-market roads for next year will be implemented well. And with that, I once again put forth the motion to adopt as the amount for repair, rehabilitation, and construction of farm-to-market road projects in designated key production areas to be 33,9,763,000.
Is there any second?
Second.
Julie seconded. The motion is hereby approved.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you again to our colleagues in the Senate. I believe that with the safeguards that we have, that came out of our discussions, definitely we'll be able to implement the farm-to-market roads next year in a good way.
All right. So we go back to.
Mr. Chairman, just before you move on, I just want to put on record my standing reservation on this. There's no intention to delay the proceedings. I commit to study this further. All the discussion here I take seriously. Is obviously, I won't even say that, you know, I support the concerns of the congressman because I'm a senator of the whole country. I want to see countryside development. Rest assured, that is what's in my heart. But I cannot stand to see corruption continue to happen. So my job is to continue to read, to study the records, the recommendations, and to really understand it. Because when I read DPWH statement, to be honest, I don't understand it. I don't understand what will happen to give me the assurance that I can tell the Filipino people that pumayag kami sa mga ganito dahil may assurance kaming naiintindihan ko. So kailangan ko intindihan, Mr. Chairman. I hope you can also understand that I need the time to study it over the next few days. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pia, and we will work with you, Senator Pia, on the additional safeguards if need be, and we can work together in making sure that the projects are implemented without any corruption and also to its fullest intention. So, yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I wanted to reiterate my reservation, just like Senator Pia, although I explained already some of the concerns. And I strongly feel that farm-to-market roads are needed but must not be distributed according to congressional districts, but must be distributed or implemented according to the need of the area, based on population, based on the land area, and others, not through politically divided districts. So that is my position. I also would like to put on the table my reservation. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I forget to mention, but we had already previously agreed that the implementation of these farm-to-market projects should be consistent with the master plan of the Department of Agriculture on the farm-to-market road network. So it has to be within and consistent with that network.
And the coordinates cannot be produced if those farm-to-market roads are not in the master plan. So it has to be in the master plan first in order for them to produce those coordinates. No, and that is the policy and the procedure of the Department of Agriculture.
We'd just like to manifest, so we'll push DA to actually do a more extensive job in developing the master plan. A lot of like the furthest areas are actually not included in the master plan. So kailangan lang po, mas paigtingin lang nila yung punta talaga sila sa mga dulo ng iba't ibang mga lugar para po talaga pag plinot po nila yung master plan, sigurado po lahat ng mga gida areas saan po talaga kailangan yung farm to market roads kasama po sa master plan. So just a manifestation po.
Thank you.
Mr.
I have
Chair.
yes.
I also would like to say that I also have reservations on this. Kasi po, 33 billion, napakalaki pong halaga. I know, I mean, our farmers need this. Ang problema ho dito, yung mga tao, the people are watching right now, baka isipin, wala nga yung flood control dito naman ngayon sa farm to market. Ito po ang iisipin na dito naman magkakaroon ng problema. I mean, lumipat lang from flood control dito ngayon sa farm to market, magiging source ng corruption. So, ang punto ko lamang, Mr. Chair, is like siguraduhin talaga natin na when we say na may mga safety measures or guards in place, na talagang kailangan ma-implement yung mga safety measures na yun. It's 33 billion, Mr. Chair. Oh. That's not a joke. That's a big amount of money. Wala na pong farm to market, I mean flood control. Baka sasabihin naman tao, dito na naman si itong mga mambabatas natin, nakakita na naman kung saan kukuha ng budget, 33 billion. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair. That's my reservation.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, I still have addition. Nabanggit po ng kasamahan natin si Senator Tulfo na 33 billion, no? But I was telling Senator Lauren, I think we're talking about 43 billion because there's 11 billion from 2025 that was never released. So what DA will have available to them, or that 11 stays in DPWH, is 44 billion. Wow, that's a lot. And we have to remember that this amount is roughly 16 billion and it's almost times 3. Kasi times 3 is 48. So it's a lot of money that will now be going to farm to market roads. And I'm a little bit surprised to hear that it did develop pa yung master plan. So yes, gusto ko talaga lahat nung geographically isolated areas are covered, but if hindi pa yan updated, kawawa naman, no? Kawawa naman. I mean, I agree with you na dapat i-develop at i-update nila.
It's already validated, Sen. Pia. We're just saying that some of the roads that are actually the most far-flung are not yet part of the master plan. So kulang lang po. But
That's what I mean.
It's
So that's a problem
It's
because-
already extensive po. But the tendency po kasi is they're able to first validate those that are closest and the most connected to the markets, to the centers. So meron na po. But it just needs to be totally ano ba, lahat na, i-expand lang po.
Oo,
Yes.
tama naman yung gusto nyo. Nagugulat lang ako na hindi pa talaga ganon. And then ganito na yung binubuhos natin na pera. So, and then my last point, Mr. President, is Mr. Chairman, when you say in accordance with the master plan, does that include some kind of prioritization? Because if the priority is rice self-sufficiency, then if I look at it, will I see that the areas being prioritized are areas that are heavy into rice as opposed to other products? I would just like to know, and I don't need to know it now, but I would like to be able to study it so that I can give my support, because as of now I have my reservations. Thank you.
Well, two things. The President just launched the infrastructure transparency portal that covers all types of infrastructure, including farm-to-market roads, school buildings, irrigation projects. So yung sumbong sa Pangulo ngayon, in-expand niya. No? So pwede nang magsumbong ngayon para sa iba't ibang mga proyekto kasama pong farm to market roads. And then number two, since this is an open BICAM, naririnig tayo lahat ng taong bayan kung ano yung ating pinopropose sa budget. So ibig sabihin, alam nila na merong ganitong farm to market road. At pangalawa, ipapublish rin natin to sa website one by one together with the coordinates. So sa mga kababayan natin na nanonood sa Cagayan de Oro, sa Bataan, sa Camiguin, alam nila ngayon na may farm to market road na ginagawa sa buong Pilipinas. So masusundan na nila ngayon. No? So hindi ito yung tinatawag na insertion na hindi nila alam. No, ngayon nasusundan na lahat. So with that,
If I may likewise add, the DA actually has an administrative order which provides the criteria for validating farm-to-market road projects. The FMR serves a road influence area. It's part of a connected road network system. It's linked to an all-weather road of equal or higher quality and the like. So we will also make sure, by way of oversight, that these are being followed. And both houses should endeavor to make sure that this is the case.
and Senator Kiko is the chairman of the Agriculture Committee. Kung kailangan every week mag-hearing para mag-oversight, gawin na lang natin yun para may accountability.
Hindi lang hearing, pakukulong natin
Correct.
yung
Mayroon na kayo napakulong last week. So,
meron.
all right, so we move on to the overall Office of the Secretary budget, which the Senate proposed. We just want to make an amendment on the item called Other Extension Support, Education, and Training Services, Other Assets Activity. The initial amount that I mentioned is 650 million. We propose to amend it to 928 million. So this will bring the total of the Office of the Secretary 165 billion pesos. So any comments? Any motion?
So move.
Yeah.
So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion,
Seconded.
duly seconded. The budget of the Office of the Secretary is now approved.
Just a manifestation. Ito pong extension service kasi, like I said earlier, napakahalaga. Dahil right now, ang Department of Agriculture ay hanggang regional level lang. And kailangan talaga ng presence up to the provincial and municipal level. So this will help us help the DA rather, strengthen its presence on the ground to provide the capacity building, extension service, support that our farmers and farmers associations and organizations need, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's
Mr.
an
Chairman.
intervention from Senator Kiko. So thank you very much. I now move to Agricultural Credit Policy Council. Huwag kayong mag-alala, tapusin na lang ho natin tong Department of Agriculture.
Mga 2 hours pa po. No. Just kidding. Just 3 more. Just 3 more,
A few more.
attached
Ano
agencies.
naman to? Wala nang contentious dito.
8 more. 8 more attached agencies. But we'll go through it very quickly po. Agricultural Credit Policy Council, on the part of the House, we propose to, the HGAB reflects the same amount as in the NEP, which is 2.774. 2.7 billion.
Thank you. On the part of the Senate, we proposed 3 billion, 24 million from, this is for the Agro-Industry Modernization Credit and Financing Program Administration. Another proposal again from Senator Kiko. So any motion, any comments on this?
Without any objection, the House concurs.
Thank you very much. To the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources.
Out of so out of the items, the PAPs, the PAPs under the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, the house GAB, the HGAB mirrors the NEP values except for one. On the provision of fishery on-farm equipment and post-harvest facilities, there's a proposed increase of 5 million pesos.
Thank you for.
As for the rest, the rest of the items, the HGAB reflects the NEP amounts.
Thank you. On the part of the Senate, for Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, we propose 11.7 billion. For General Management and Supervision, 641 million. Development of Organizational Policies, Plans, Procedures, 641 million. Fishing gears / paraphernalia distribution, 296 million. Fisheries production and distribution, 2 billion. Operation and management of production facilities, 1.2 billion. Provision of fisheries on-farm equipment and post-harvest facilities, 74 million. Market development services, 145 million. Monitoring, control, and surveillance, 1.4 billion. Quality control and inspection, 224 million. Quarantine registration and licensing, 173 million. Coastal and inland fisheries resource management, 521 million. Extension, support, education, and training services, 1.1 billion. Mobile water treatment and desalination system for sanitation, community health, and livelihood support in fisheries household, 150 million. That's it. Any questions or any
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
second? Duly seconded. The budget of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources deem approved. For the Carabao Center,
Tayo na Carabao. Laki nito. Carabao Feeding Program.
wala, no?
1 billion.
Under Philippine Carabao Center, the amount reflected in the HGAB is the same as in the NEP.
Okay. For, on the part of the Senate, for the Philippine Carabao Center, the milk feeding component of the Department of Education school-based feeding program is 1.1 billion pesos. This was a realignment from the DepEd as proposed by Senator Kiko as well. All right. For
I move for approval because the Philippine Carabao Center is in Region 10. It is in Maramag, Bukidnon, and they've been giving carabaos to my constituents. Thank you.
Seconded, Mr. Chair.
thank you. The budget of the Philippine Carabao Center is hereby approved. Next will be the National Dairy Authority.
Under the National Dairy Authority, the HGAB amount reflects the same as the NEP, which is 531 million.
On the part of the Senate, the milk feeding component of the Department of Education school-based feeding program amounting to 1.8 billion pesos. This is a movement from the Department of Education to the National Dairy Authority. Any motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move for approval because the NDA is giving imported cattle, dairy cattle, and also dairy goats to my constituents in the 2nd District of Cagayan de Oro.
Second, Mr.
Kaya
Chair.
pala healthy ho sila sa Cagayan de Oro.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The budget of the National Dairy Authority is hereby approved.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just very quickly, one of the reasons why we transferred it to the Philippine Carabao Center as well as the National Dairy Authority from the Department of Education is because this now allows our dairy farmers to be able to sell directly their milk products to the schools and the school-based feeding program, thereby augmenting their income, increasing their incomes, and providing them additional livelihood. This in turn will increase their incomes and will benefit the local economies where the dairy farmers are located.
Thank you, Senator Kiko. Next is the National Food Authority.
My apologies. For the National Food Authority in the HGAB, from in the NEP, there's actually no amount for establishment, repair, and rehabilitation of post-harvest. We increased it in the HGAB to 4.19 billion pesos, as you can see here. However, for the BICAM, for the purpose of the BICAM, we are proposing to zero it out, put the amount to zero, given that the enabling law required to give the NFA the ability to expand their procurement capabilities is not yet in place. Rice Act, which is the enabling law that we are waiting for, is a LIDAC priority. So we hope that that will get approved soon, just so the NFA would have expanded powers and market stabilization powers. But in the meantime, given that that law is not yet in place, we are proposing to zero out this particular item.
In the Senate version, we also removed that item. So we concur with the removal of that item from the General Appropriations Bill.
Move to approve. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, thank you. So we, wala tayong approve. So we go to Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation.
Bakit ang For the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, the House proposes an increase of 1 billion pesos from the NEP level of 4.5 billion pesos to 5.5 billion pesos in the HGAB. We are doing this so we can provide crop insurance to more farmers, especially in times of calamity. Kasi ang nangyayari po ngayon, kahit magkabagyo po or magkaroon ng kalamidad, wala po silang insurance. So, kailangan pong paigtingin natin yung pagbibigay ng crop insurance sa ating mga magsasaka. So, the House is providing an additional 1 billion pesos for crop insurance.
On the part of the Senate, we propose for the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation 6.5 billion pesos. Under it is crop insurance program of 6.5 billion pesos. Any motion?
Mr. Chair, that amount, just kind of curious, will that be sufficient enough to cover all the crops for next year that will be damaged by calamities or natural disasters, Mr. Chair?
This is an introduction by Senator Kiko, so we.
Yes,
yeah,
well,
we recognize it.
unfortunately not. In fact, the damage to agriculture this year is about 15 billion already. No? So, hindi siya sapat, but it's a start, and we hope to be able to increase this as, as we go through every budget year. But the 4.5 billion, in fact, was the amount since 2016, 2015. So it's been 10 years stuck at 4.5 billion. And so now with this additional increase of 1 billion from the House, and then we have another billion from this with the Senate, and this is a significant jump from the 4.5 billion budget last year and the last 10 years.
So any motion?
I move, Mr. Chair, that we approve the budget of the Philippine Crop
Any
Insurance
second?
Corporation.
Second. Duly seconded, the budget of the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation is hereby approved. Last on the list
For today.
will be the Philippine Fisheries Development Authority.
Last for today.
Last.
For the Philippine Fisheries Development Authority, the House proposes an increase of 2.4 billion pesos for the deep water ports for fish and agri-industrial products projects. Ideally, this is actually a flagship program of the administration. The goal is to be able to establish 10 deep water ports by 2028 at a cost of 800 million pesos each. Given the fiscal space, we are only able to accommodate 3 of those 10, and that would result to a 2.4 billion pesos cost in the budget. So with that, I believe the Senate removed it in the Senate version. So we appeal to our colleagues in the Senate to also restore this amount, given that it's a priority program, it's a flagship program of the administration for the benefit of our farmers and fisher folk.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we would like to support our chairperson in requesting for the 2.4. We are an archipelago. We want our fishermen to bring to city centers. That is why one of the ports is in Cagayan de Oro, because the city center is Cagayan de Oro, and we bring in fisher folks from Lanao del Norte, Misamis Oriental, not only fish, but also the produce, which can be brought by boats from different municipalities to come to the market. And then they're able to sell their products, and also they will have cheaper prices for Cagayan de Oro because it is now clear that there is a port for that. So we appeal, Mr. Chairman, that we restore the 2.4 that was removed by the Senate. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Cong Rufus. Before that, let me present the budget of the Senate for the Philippine Fisheries Development Authority. That's 2.1 billion pesos, and indeed, we did not carry the deep water ports for fish and agri-industrial products project in the Senate version. So I would like to hear some comments from our colleagues about their thoughts on this. Senator Kiko?
Well, as Vice Chairman of the Subcommittee J, we actually endorsed the 2.4 billion. But we were informed by our chairman that because of the fiscal space, it could not be accommodated. So while I am committed to defend the Senate version, I share the concern and the desire of the House to have the 2.4 billion included in the budget of the Department of Agriculture.
Thank you very much, Sen. Kiko. My apologies.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just wanted to correct myself po. In terms of the breakdown for the 2.4 billion, actually po, these would actually already start. Seven of the deep water ports, that would be Abra de Ilog, Occidental Mindoro, Dapitan City, and Zamboanga del Norte, Pantao Albay, Puerto Princesa City, Palawan, Surigao City, Surigao del Norte, Cebu Province along Talisay and Cordova, and Navotas Fish Port Complex, all amounting to 2.4 billion. So actually, we are not only funding 3, but actually 7. We'll take a look at the Cagayan po. But this is the breakdown that was mentioned. My apologies, Kong Rufus. I actually did not.
Well,
I just noticed.
in fact, in the hearing, it was very clear that Cagayan de Oro will have a fish port. And that is why I'm surprised that I'm now fighting for this, and there's none for Cagayan de Oro. So can you just include that? Because we really need, we are in the Mindanao Sea. Very rich, fertile.
It was just transferred
fisher-
to Palawan, compañero.
You just add na lang, you just add, because it's not big, it's only 60 M.
We'll confer po with the
Yes.
PFDA, as
Thank you.
this is actually their proposal for the 2.4 billion. So we'll confer po with the PFDA.
Thank you,
Kong
Mr.
Rufus,
Madam
I'm
Chair.
unable to commit as of now, but I will confer po on your behalf to the PFDA.
I may be mistaken, but I think there are appropriations for ports, but there are also appropriations for deep sea ports. So perhaps I could be mistaken, but perhaps the Cagayan de Oro port project is for the fish port, but not the deep sea port.
I think it's also deep sea, because Mindanao Sea, when you move a little further from Cagayan de Oro, it's deep.
Mas malalim pa yata kaysa sa Palawan, sa Puerto Princesa. Senator Pia?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to express my support for this project. As I said earlier, under the Sustainable Development Goals, the #1 Sustainable Development Goal is no poverty, and farmers and fisher folks, to be very clear, are the poorest sector in our country. So if there is fiscal space, I would like this project to be prioritized. And to be clear to our colleagues and to everyone listening, these are the kind of projects that I feel should be prioritized. Not that I'm against access of our countryside, rural areas to roads, but parang ito yung talagang malalim yung effect nito kasi directly to their livelihood, and it's something that veers us away from that controversy lang. Kaya support ako dito kung papayag kayong lumipat pa dito yung ibang project ng madagdagan ng deep sea port kay Congressman Rufus, I even support kasi gusto ko lang ilayo yung sarili natin dun sa controversy. Yun lang naman po. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Representative Brian Yamsuan.
I have worked closely with the PFDA during my stint as chairman of Aquaculture and Fisheries in the House in the last Congress, and I see the need for these projects. Really, they need this. The PFDA needs it, not only them, but the people around those areas na makikinabang pagka naibigay natin yung proyekto. Yung activity, yung economic activity, gaganda. Yung ating mga fishermen, medyo magkakaroon ng productivity, yung kanilang mga kita. And I think yung food security natin, importante rin ho yun. And of course, pag gumawa pa tayo ng mga additional projects that will complement with the deep sea ports, yung mga food production hub natin magkakaroon ng lugar para unti-unti nating maisaayos. So I fully support the increase in the budget of PFDA.
Thank you. Let me also express my support to this project. Like what Congressman Rufus mentioned, we are a archipelagic country, and logistics is really challenging in our country. In fact, mas mahal pa yung logistics inside the country compared to delivering to outside of the country like Hong Kong or Taiwan because of logistics. So the more infrastructure for logistics, the better for us, including ports, because ports is the mode of delivery for cargo. No? So let me also express my support for this project. So with that, any motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second?
Second.
With that, the motion to include deep water ports for fish and agri-industrial projects is deemed approved.
Thank you very much once again to our colleagues in the Senate. This is a very important project, and I'm happy that we were able to find the fiscal space to fund the project. Given the plan of the PFDA, this is going to be a 3-year program, so it would require 1.85 billion next year and roughly 600 million in 2028. So hopefully we can sustain it to make sure that the 7 ports are completed by 2028. Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chairman, we thank you, Cagayan de Oro, because we will now have a deep water port. In fact, the Philippine Deep is in Mindanao. Philippine Deep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Kong Rufus. With that, we'll terminate our first round of BICAM. I think we have covered many grounds. We'll resume again tomorrow, 2 p.m., same venue. So maraming salamat po and good morning
We'll
to all of
confer
you.
lang po, Sen, when 2 p.m. is okay with everyone? All conferees are okay with 2 p.m.?
Yeah, para makapag-mass muna.
Thank you. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Thank you, counterpart.
Sen, when we concur, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you very much. Senwin will officially suspend. This bicameral conference committee hearing is hereby suspended.
Part of the Senate, this bicameral conference committee hearing is hereby suspended.